Hi, I'm Vincent, and
I'm Clarence.
exactly. And today, what we'll be doing is that we'll be teaching you guys how to take this, after you finish drinking it, and turning it into this, a flower pot. The idea behind this is that in Hong Kong, generally, we don't have a particularly good glass recycling system. Therefore, instead of recycling it, what we're doing is that we're upcycling it. So yes, let's get started.
Yep, so this will be the first part, where I talk about what we need for bottle cutting in particular. Okay, so here you see the four main things that we're using and the fact that we have several bottles which we've already cut. First thing that you need is some rope, and then the other thing which you need will be a bottle cutter, a glass cutter. And the third thing that you need is a pair of scissors and the sander. First, what you do is you wrap it against it. It forms a nice guide. Wrap it very tightly. This is very important. That's why you can cut it and you can rely on it. Here it is, the cutting. It's rather tricky. The bottle label does make a little bit of trouble, but it should be fine. Here you see the nice little cut line across the glass underneath the label. And here what I'm doing is I'm heating it up, and what it's doing is I'm thermally shocking it. That is ice water. And I keep spinning it and repeat this again. And one more time until it turns green. Actually, no, that's another bottle. I'll tell you why later. And you should hear some cracks at this point in time. Exactly. And there you have it, a very nice clean cut. You put it back in, make sure it's cold so you don't scald yourself. And that is how it's cut after it's been sanded. Now, this is very important. This is why we have several extra bottles, because as you see there are extra cracks which you don't want. And generally, you might have to go through a couple bottles. The ones which don't work, please recycle them. And this is finishing work. By finishing, I mean how to make sure you don't cut yourself, finishing the edge. The important tool here is the glass sander. And you sand it, and sand it, and sand it some more. Yeah, pretty much. Done. Yes, so you just sand it a bit, and at the end of it, it's sanded, but the best way to get this done is to heat it up with some fire, blowtorch if you have that. If you don't, I don't think it'll still work. The point is to make sure that it actually rounds off the sanding very well, blows away any stray glass particles. Here we're making the basket, and this is the basket done. You just need to make sure that you've got two ropes and that make sure that they're holding it together, and tie the top rope on the bottom rope. And now what you're doing is potting. With potting, what you need is you need some string with a glue gun or any other adhesive really, and make sure you have it at front, pull it through, and afterwards you add soil to it. And that the string at the end actually stops the soil from leaking out. And here it is done. And yes, it's really quite easy.
Hi, so we've shown you how to make the hanging pot out of a wine bottle. We do have some criticism of this. It is that we think it is much more a statement, a conversation piece. I mean, when you have something like this in your home, it fits in really well. Plenty of stuff actually fits it. It's quite classy. The only problem is you do have to buy things to make it with, in which case you're actually consuming more. But we think that the initial outlay is actually justifiable if you do this multiple times, or get your friends on board, have them do this, and frankly speaking, it's quite a nice conversation piece. You get to talk about upcycling versus recycling, where the latter, recycling, takes up a lot of energy, whereas upcycling in this case is more time. You have a personal connection. This goes against also the idea of just consuming things and taking them as are, as is. Here you put yourself, your time into it, and it becomes a personal item, and it's something which increases its value, frankly. So saying, we think that it's still a very nice thing to do. It's a very nice conversation piece when you do it. It's not going to make a huge difference. It's not something which is changing the way we spend money. But I think this is also very important in Hong Kong, and especially also in Wuxing as well, is that we're changing the way we think, one conversation at a time. Thank you. Oh, and one more thing. Special thanks, especially to the person who never turns up on camera. He's camera shy. He is Clarence. Let me show you him. Yep, exactly. He's camera shy. He is the person who's been behind the camera and is incredibly awesome.